This is One-on-One. Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Steve Adubato. I want to introduce you for the first time to Dr. Ann Prisco. She is the president of Felician College. She's the first lay president in the 70-year history of Felician College. Our good friend, Sister Teresa Mary Martin, was with us many, many times. I want to welcome you to the show for the first time. How are you doing?
Thank you, Steve. Doing well. Doing well. A little exhausted this time of year. We get to celebrate all of our seniors, so every night of the week, you know, we've had a candlelight ceremony for our teacher education program. Last evening we celebrated all our graduating athletes who play an important role in our community. You know, the night before that it was our nurses, so every night there's going to be a different. Yes, we do. Yeah.
Tell folks who do not know what Felician is, exactly what it is.
Right, so Felician actually the name comes from a Polish group of sisters who started in the 1850s. Blessed Mary Angela was the foundress. While she followed St. Francis and St. Vincent, there was a statue of St. Felix in the town, and because they would gather women and children and pray by this statue, they became known as the Sisters of St. Felix, and then Felix kind of morphed into Felician when they got to the United States.
Now, your background?
I'm Brooklyn, first generation Italian American, first generation graduate from college, and Catholic. You know, grew up actually went to Our Lady of Miracles in Canarsie, Brooklyn, where there were Franciscan sisters. They were Felician, but they were Franciscan. Right. And I actually went to public high school and college, and my first job out of college was at Fordham.
At Fordham.
Yeah, and so, and my sons went to Jesuit high schools in Manhattan and Catholic high school.
Yeah, I was just telling you, my son is at Fordham. He has
yeah.
the Jesuit experience now. And I was with the Irish Christian Brothers.
Were you? Yes.
At Essex Catholic and at Iona.
There you go.
In New Rochelle.
Yeah, my husband had Christian Brothers in his high school in Queens.
All these different Catholic.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. That's a different subject.
That's a whole different subject, yes. Having spent 6 years with Jesuits out at LMU the last 6 years. Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. You come into Felician as the first lay president. What unique challenges does that present?
The challenge it presents is that symbolically you're different. Even if the way you behave and your belief in the mission and your belief in the vision. So the typical question for a new president is, what's your vision or mission? And I said, I'm here to follow the vision and the mission as it exists. I didn't come here to change it. I believe
Yeah, but you're not a nun.
But I'm not a nun. And they won't give me a habit I've asked. I said, make my wardrobe much easier. But so what the challenge is that in your thoughts and in your words and in your behavior, you represent the mission and the values of the sisters without actually having
And describe what you believe they are, because Felician is known for a whole range of things. And our good friend, the chairman of the board, Ray Bermucci, who's very connected to Felician, we talk about this all the time. There is a value system at Felician. There is just the number of students who get financial aid, who those students are, and what commitment you have to helping many who would otherwise not go to college. Go to college. I mean, you have a commitment to them. Right.
We have a commitment, and I love to use the term diversity of diversities, because we have a commitment to educate a whole range of students. They don't have to be Catholic. You know, they don't have to be.
Many are not.
And about half of our students are not Catholic, right? But something about the mission of the institution and the values is something they believe in, attracts them to us, and the quality of the programs, right? So that's what you would hope. I think it's more interesting when you're in a classroom with a diverse perspective. Everyone learns more when there's diverse perspectives. So what I love about the Felician mission is it's about trying to help everyone and bring out the best in them rather than setting some sort of minimum bar.
One of your colleagues recently told me that through Obamacare, interestingly, some of the independent/private institutions like yours are now required to provide, explain that to folks, you're required to provide for your students health insurance.
Or the way they flip it around, it's not so much we're required as much as our students have to have life insurance. So either they have to demonstrate that they're carried by their parents or their spouse, or their employer.
And say they can't afford it. What are you going to do?
Exactly. So now they can't come. So now they're going to have two boundaries, right? Two borders have now been established for them. They're not going to be able to enroll with us because they can't afford to buy the health insurance. So they're not going to have health insurance, and they're not going to get to go to school.
Right. So some institutions, Catholic institutions, are in fact going to try to help those students pay for it. That's another bottom line issue.
Exactly. Right. Or we're looking to form a consortium to see if we could lower the rate for the individual small schools. But it's still the same issue. I mean, so if it was $300 and we're talking about raising it to $800, well, there literally will be students who that $500, it could make a difference between them going to school or not.
And for you, because you're from Brooklyn, because you come from a family for whom you were the first to graduate, first generation, how important is it to you personally to see these young people, and not so young in some cases, have this opportunity?
I mean, my whole career has been in higher ed, and it's been about access and opportunity. I started working in the financial aid office.
I know.
I went through college on financial aid, you know, and I came from a family where my father didn't speak English very well. He would ask me to fill the forms out, and he would sign them.
Because he spoke Italian.
Because he spoke Italian. So I know what it's like, and I always remind my faculty and our staff, you know, many of these people are very uncomfortable here. We're comfortable in college. I could have never gotten my parents to come to a parent orientation. Back then we didn't have them anyway,
Right.
but we have to remind ourselves they're out of their comfort zone in every way, so our job is to make them feel welcome and make them feel comfortable.
And finally, at Felician, you're in a capital campaign, you're raising money all the time. The future, and you're trying to raise the number of students from what to what?
Right now we're about 2,000. I'd like to see us grow up to 3.
Possible, but big recruiting campaign though, right?
Yeah, and time. It'll take time to grow that. And also the types of students, right? So when you think about who goes to school now, half of our students are what we talk about as non-traditional.
Right.
Right? They're over 24. Many of them have families. They come to school in the evenings. They take online courses. They're in graduate programs. We just started a doctorate in nursing.
Right.
So it's about who goes to school now, and it really is about lifelong learning. Right? I got my Ph.D. after I had my children. Who would have ever imagined that was possible?
Anyone who thinks there's a typical college student doesn't understand what college is today. Doctor, I want to thank you for joining us. Hopefully this will not be the last time you join us in one of our CAUCUS educational programs. Dr. Ann Prisco, president of Felician College, the first lay president of the college in 70 years, and we thank you very much.
Thank
Stay
you.
right there. This is One on One. I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back right after this.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One on One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Sun National Bank, Qualcare Inc., New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, PSE&G, Fedway Associates Inc., the Russell Berry Foundation, and by Cone Resnick. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine. One on One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.